Welcome to Back of the Room. My guest today is a very funny stand-up comedian and my favorite person with two first names, Scott James, everybody. What's up, Scott? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Jimmy. I'm just trying to figure out how many other people with two first names you might know.
Yeah, somebody's going to be pissed, but, it's just something you say. Maybe
Top
5.
So it's not true. It's just
Top
something
5.
you say. It's just something you say.
Top 5. I'll give you that one.
It's hard to tell, honestly, like a first name could be a last name now. You know what I mean? People are
It's
naming
true.
their kids weird shit.
You never know.
I know somebody named their kid Carson. The last name.
Yeah, that is.
The last name, and I
got
kind
a
of don't like
buddy-
it because how do you shorten that?
Carr?
You gotta call him Carson every time.
You can call him Carr.
I mean, Scott's the same way. There's no
Yeah.
short for Scott.
The S-Man. These are all bad, but, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
I'm not good at names, but, Carson, Scott James. My name's James, so we got that. James.
I knew there
James.
was a reason we got along.
Yeah. All right. How you been, man? How you doing?
I'm
What do you
good.
got going on?
I have a bunch of stuff going on. I'm going through some shit, but that's every week.
Yeah.
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 You know how
I
it
hear
is.
you, man. It's I feel the same way.
I had this thought driving in here today because I was on your wife Molly's podcast,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know why it came up or why I thought about it, but I was on her podcast while I was remodeling my bathroom. And it was a fucking nightmare. It was an absolute, every now and then I'll scroll through pictures looking for something, a headshot or something like that on my phone, and I'll stumble across those pictures, and it gives me a stomachache. It's so bad. And then
Yeah.
that thought
You're preaching to the choir
immediately,
about that. Yeah.
went to you and your home renovation.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Dang, every time you or Molly tells me something about it, it puts a pit in my stomach, man.
Yeah, one of my dad's buddies looked at it. He did plumbing. He's retired now.
Yeah.
But he looked at it. He's like, man, I don't know how you sleep at night. This would have me up
Yeah.
all day. I was
I've
like,
been-
yeah, it's not great.
People have said that to me before, too, but it's not
It's
because
not-
I
not
bought and
because of
renovated
that,
a
yeah.
house. It's something different.
Yeah, you've heard the term burning the candle at both ends. I think I've
Oh,
just
yeah.
thrown the candle into a bonfire, and I'm
Yeah.
just
And you're just watching
watching
the
it.
wax turn into smoke.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, dude. Don't get me wrong. I hate to think like, what were you thinking? I hate, you know what I mean? Because there is a certain amount of here's the thing. I look at it like this. So I always have these thoughts of oh, what if I won the lottery? And it would have to be never work again, life changing,
Yeah.
do whatever type money. And I have two thoughts on that type of thing all the time. Is how would you lose it all? What's the thing that you like doing so much you would? Mine would be eating at fancy restaurants. I would eat at nice restaurants.
That would take a long time to lose it
I would
all,
ta-
though.
Oh, it would travel. I think I could do it.
You could
I think I
probably
could
do it,
I
but
would travel. I would travel a shitload.
yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, but but the other thing is okay, if I didn't have to work and I just the money was never an object, or I never had to turn a profit on anything, I would buy and remodel houses. I would but I would just do it. It'd be a fun project. I like building shit. I like doing stuff like that.
If you had just, if you weren't living there and could just do it
Oh, yeah.
on your leisure,
on my
I had to be a little better off. But
yeah,
living there and also just having it tore up for 6 months or whatever, bought a house from 1890 just for some,
Yeah. I was bitching
clarity.
about remodeling a bathroom.
one of
in a
your
house
3
from the
bathrooms,
50s.
probably. Yeah.
No, that was the issue.
That was the only one.
It's a one
okay.
bedroom.
That does.
It's a
that is a
3-bed,
problem.
1-bath house.
Yeah.
So it has one bathroom, and it was bad.
Uh huh.
Not I need some new tile and some paint.
Yeah.
If it was something like that, I could hammer it out in a long weekend. I mean, it was bad. I basically had to rebuild that room from the inside out, subfloor, drywall, fucking everything.
Yeah.
It was bad. Every layer of horse shit that I took off,
Oh yeah, you find more
presented a
problems.
new
Yeah,
problem.
that's exactly what I'm going through every time.
yeah.
But yeah, it's not great. I know you do
No.
flooring,
Yeah.
for your day job. So any tips? But we don't currently have subfloor.
Yeah, you're not.
So we're not even
You're
to
a long
your.
way from me.
We're
being
not
able to
even
help
ready
you.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a long way out from me being able to
Yeah.
help you. But there's definitely like I've told you this, and I've said this to Molly too. Is like, look, I don't live that far away from you guys. If you need some help,
Yeah.
just doing something. I mean, I have like yeah, God, I've just got that like panic of like when I was doing that bathroom, I did farm out. I kind of did a labor trade with the guy that does plumbing and electrical work. And but when you're doing something like that, when someone's doing it on the side, hey, whenever you can get here.
Yeah.
And he lived deep in South City. So I was like, I don't want to drive all the way. It's a 45-minute drive to get to this guy's house. But I did a bathroom for him. And, also I fucked his bathroom up a little bit. But, it's whatever.
Yeah, it's,
my plumbing still works and the electrical works, so he did not return the favor. And I got to think that's God's way of doing me a solid. I don't know, man.
I'm not going about it the best way, probably, but I'm trying my best. I always get a bid for like the professionals to do it, and I'm like, holy fuck! And then I'm like, oh, I'll just do that, and it'll take 3 months. But
I'll tell you what, dude. There's a certain like, there's a reason I'm not in business for myself. I'm a shit businessman. that does apply. That applies to flooring, and that applies to comedy. There's been a couple times where I put a bid on, a bathroom or just some kind of flooring job, and these people would just go for the bid way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And with a little too much gusto, they'd be like, yeah, sounds great. And I'd be like, shit.
Yeah.
That means I could have got way more for this work. But
then you run into a problem, and I know, man. It's not great, man, but it's a work in progress.
I'm doing a buddy of mine's basement now, and it's, what sucks is, like, they're getting such a deep discount, because it's, like, one of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are certain things that sort of are raising up, like, problems sort of arise where it's like, well, now I got to make another trip out here. Well, now I got to do this. Now, and it's fine because, like, it's a friend.
Yeah.
But I also I'm looking at, like, if that was just
a customer, they'd be like, what the fuck? Why isn't this done? And why did you leave for an hour? Because you had to go to Lowe's to get a whatever, Or
but just like, but it's also like, they're such close friends. It is like, I also have a problem like going over there and like, I guess I've been bullshitting for like 45 minutes. So clearly my time is not precious to me that I'm not willing to like chit chat.
Yeah, it evens out on those kind of things, but I know what you mean. Just dealing with customers, I wouldn't like that part of it at all.
Yeah, I do handle it a little bit different if it's not somebody. It's obviously like like the turnaround for their basement. They don't need it right away. And they're also like juggling, when you do something like that, I mean, it was just a raw basement, and it's a nice enough house to where it wasn't like, I don't reckon that it presented a lot of like surprises.
Yeah.
But their basement was a little unlevel, and it needed some stuff like that before I could really do anything. And I'm doing everything like as perfect as I could get it because it's a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's also like there was just some goofy thing. Like there was a board in the doorway of the closet in the bathroom I was laying tile in, and I was a little bit like, man, I bet that board's there for a reason.
Yeah.
I bet they're doing like kind of like a built-in, maybe they have got some, no, they're not. The carpenter just forgot to take that board up, and I was like, I don't have anything to cut it out with. And by that point, I had already like self-leveled everything. I was just like, well, I'm just a little bit like, now I just got to come, and I did the rest of the bathroom. Some of the plumber could work, and I still need to grout it. But it's one of those things, like, I thought about it. I was like, man, I packed up all my tile tools and took them out. And I'm like, wait, I'm going to need all this shit again, only it's just for, like, a little closet.
Yeah.
It's part of the job.
It's tough, man.
It's also, like, part of being, this guy's a financial advisor, and I got to imagine he's probably going to get me out of some kind of jam in life that I don't realize I'm in right now. Yeah. Because I'm, like, I always feel like I'm on shaky ground financially. Like, there's always something that I'm fucking up, like, and normally you could say that's like an irrational fear to have, but no,
I think it's something to probably think about.
It's a real fear.
Throw that on, like, give me financial advice and also beer for the next 4 or 5 years if we go out or something, because it sounds like you're doing him a solid.
He's also one of those guys that's like, I like when people get like this about things, especially for things I could never get excited about. But he's actually excited to be like watching stocks and He's like good at the job, and
that's the kind of guy you want.
It like excites him.
Yeah,
it's like actually something he's excited to kind of talk about, and so yeah, that's definitely one of those guys because if you ask him for something, he's not going to be like,
yeah. That's the kind of guy you want. I'm using Jack Shirk as my financial guy because he's like, you just download this app, and then I bought these stocks of this video game thing because it's coming out in a year and a half. And I'm like, that's a good idea.
Sure.
So I don't know if it is or not, but threw $150 at it. What's to lose?
Yeah, I just sort of have that like, yeah, I definitely need to be doing something like that, but I also have that like, you're not talking about. If you talk about like. Somebody's talking about, you should put X amount of money in a 401k.
Yeah.
That's not a negligible amount of money for
me.
There's
you
a lot of times
put,
I'm like, but what if I need that?
Yeah. I didn't put much in there. I put like $1,000 on this app and then, pick some shit. And I'm up a little, but it's like, was that even worth it? I'm not putting 20 grand in there.
It's up a little bit, isn't it? Isn't it also like the weird, dude, just download like a poker game or something.
Yeah.
Download like a slot machine app and it'll give you the same charge. And you won't have $1,000 out there on the street.
Who's to say? But
not me. I know.
I don't know.
I briefly talked about like winning the lottery and like life-changing money. Like we'll talk about that at work sometimes with like other floor guys or painters or construction guys. And then it's such a sad state of affairs with things the way they are right now, where it's like, yeah, but I mean, what's life-changing money?
Yeah.
Do you like say a number that's life-changing money? Half of us are like. Like $800.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah.
I mean, that would definitely help you out, but it's kind of sad anymore. Like, it used to be like $1 million. Like, oh man, if I could just have $1 million, but they take half for taxes. So then you're looking at 500, and then you're like,
if that's what you brought home, if you brought home $1 million, and a lot of people say like, oh, I'd never work again. Oh yeah, you would.
Probably would.
Yeah, you would. Especially if you're gonna do it the way I'm gonna do it, which is like. If you like came into like just say $1 million, just because it's a nice round.
Yeah,
it's a big enough number to be like, I could do anything, and be like, whoa, you can't do anything.
You do a lot right now and then run out.
if it's out, there's a certain amount of money like you're gonna lose that.
Yeah,
you're gonna lose it because you're a poor person, and I know you're a poor person because you were playing the Powerball.
Yeah,
and you're not gonna do anything smart with that. You're gonna open a record label.
Right. That's an option.
You're gonna
get a sick car.
You're gonna get a car that you shouldn't have.
Yeah, probably a house
you shouldn't have, and you're not gonna think about paying taxes on any of that. So that's why I always say like the fun conversation to have is like you win $1 million. How do you lose it?
Yeah,
and travel and eating at nice restaurants.
That's not bad.
And buying leather jackets.
Yeah.
I would buy custom leather jackets. I'd buy custom leather suits.
Okay.
And I would show up to work still. Only I'd be dressed like Eddie Murphy Raw.
And then it rains and you just shrink into it and you're stuck. Yeah.
I think of the funnest way to lose it and be like, no,
that's not bad. If we win the lottery, though, we'll call your buddy, just see what to do. That's the smart way to do it.
Oh, but I'm not going to listen to the smart advice. When
the fun
$1 million, I don't need to listen to you anymore.
Well, I know you a bit. I've known you for a long time, but I want to know a little bit more. I got a little game here called That's My Favorite. Just kind of a quick, rapid fire. I'm going to throw a few things out there. Just let me know what your favorite is. An easy one first. Favorite color?
Is it easy?
Yeah, usually.
You got to pick one?
Yeah.
Black?
Black? Isn't that the absence of color? I'll take it. I like black, too. Favorite sport?
Favorite sport to watch is football. It's the one I identify the most with. It's the only sport I really played in high school. I ran track, but I wasn't good at either of those things.
Yeah, but football's
I had more
way
fun
playing
to
watch.
Football. I was very bad at football. I still had more fun playing it.
Okay.
Running track was fine. But I also, I'll say football.
That's a good one. That's a good answer. A favorite band or musician? That's a tough one.
This could be a really long conversation. I want to say like one of my. Let me look at my Spotify real quick.
Okay.
I'll tell you like just a broad. Queens of the Stone Age is probably one of my favorite bands. One one of my favorite musicians right now, and it's been this way since maybe like late in high school. But there's a jazz bass player named Omar Avital, and he's like a really good like jazz bass player. And I bought this. I was in jazz band in high school, and like sight unseen, I would buy like modern jazz albums, just for whatever stupid reason.
Okay.
And there was one called Live at Smalls. I think it was put out by Impulse Records. But it was Live at Smalls. Smalls was a jazz club in Manhattan, and the only reason I know that is because it was on the back of the CD.
Okay.
But it sounded like a cool like, oh, these are all like recorded on different nights with different bands. It was kind of a compilation, and there was like 2 or 3 artists from that album that I really really liked, and I was like, this is really good. But the Jason Linder, the Jason Linder big band, and this jazz bass player. And it also, I think it sort of coincided, the song Kentucky Girl by him. I think you dog ear like certain like important parts in your life with like the music you were listening to.
Does he sing too or no?
No. Sometimes
okay,
he
you're
says,
hardcore jazz
guy.
guy.
If somebody's soloing on one of his songs and he's really feeling it, he'll go, yeah, which is nice. So he does have a song called Small Time Shit. There's a little singing.
Okay.
They just say small time shit. That's it. Those are the only lyrics. But there's a song called Kentucky Girl, and I think I like. I gotta say, yeah, it's probably like the first like you think you're falling in love type thing.
Okay.
That song I remember very clearly from that time in my life. And then there's like bands like Fragile Porcelain Mice or Estero. That's one.
I don't know any of these people.
Look up. I know. It's going to make me sound very pretentious.
No, I mean, peeps.
But these are also like, I will say like most of the bands I really, really latched onto, even though they're like not like well known, I also like happened upon them in very conventional forms of media. Like I'm 43. There was so if you like stayed up late and you were watching MTV late at night when there's music, you'd see some weird shit. So you'd say that's how I found out about The Roots, one of my favorite bands. That's how I found out about Estero, Refused, one of my favorite bands. Who else did I find? I found out about, a band called Skeleton Key. I think a buddy of mine told me about them, but they also had like, they were on MTV. They had a Grammy-nominated album, their first album. And nobody knows any of these bands. And
I'll have to take your word for it. I don't know shit about jazz.
Yeah.
I'm not a jazz guy, but I'm glad that you like it.
Omar Avital is the only jazz artist.
Well, it all sounds in the same world or something that I don't understand.
Yeah, it's all, I guess like all underground like indie stuff, but it's also half these bands I heard on the radio, but at weird times.
Yeah.
Or on some like weird, or KDHX even, you'd hear some stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Right now, I think Marlo for hip hop or Prof for hip hop.
Okay.
And then the Roots were always kind of in there. Queens of the Stone Age.
I know the
Roots
Roots because they're on Jimmy Fallon. But that's the only reason I know.
Yeah, that's the only reason. I'm not gonna say the only reason I've ever watched
Chappelle's
that show. Yeah, right.
But yeah. Yeah, I
was
got
into
your
them way before that.
Okay,
way before that.
I got
and
your
even before I got into them, they had a whole career. They were like big in Germany. Shit, they've been touring since like the early '90s. I think.
Okay. Well, I get your genre. I get your vibe now.
I like a lot of different kinds of music.
Yeah, that's all right.
Not a country guy.
Favorite SNL cast member?
Man, I'll tell you what. For as much as people want to talk shit about Saturday Night Live and what it's like now, the Weekend Update, Colin Jost and Michael Che.
Not bad. That's pretty good.
I want to say that's my favorite duo on there. You could say like, and I think anything Tina Fey's associated with. So the Tina Fey, Amy Poehler years were fantastic.
Yeah, Norm. He's my favorite, but
you know who a sleeper is? Rachel Dratch. I don't think gets enough like
she was funny, yeah.
Credit. But I might say Tina Fey, not just because she was a player. She's not a player. She just crushes a lot. But
Yeah.
Not just because she's like good in sketches, but also like look at the whole career. She's an amazing writer. Her book is really good. And 30 Rock was
30
amazing.
Rock's good.
Just the whole career.
Yeah.
The whole career. I might have to say Tina Fey.
Tina Fey. Favorite sitcom? These are all tough, but you got to just try to.
I look at favorite sitcom as something like, a lot of people say like, oh, it's something that you're always going to play. It's always on in the background. People are like, oh yeah, I just put on Seinfeld and I let it roll.
That's what I do.
And you don't watch it.
I've seen it a million times, but I do watch it still, but I've seen it a million times.
I watch it. Seinfeld's got to be up there. Community's got to be up there.
Never seen it.
Never seen it?
No.
Man, Community was good. It's Dan Harmon. It's the guy that did Rick and Morty.
Okay.
But
I've heard good things. I've just never watched it.
You know, there's a show. What the fuck?
What the fuck? I've never heard.
No, with it's gonna kill me because every time I've seen it, I was like, oh, this show's amazing. It's got Michael Cera, like a young
Arrested Development.
Yeah, every time I've seen that show, the last woman I dated, every now and then we watched. She would put that on, and every time we watched it, I was like, the show is amazing. Why am I not watching this show? And I don't know why, it just never comes up. But yeah, Community I latched onto. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, 30 Rock. Okay. 30 Rock that's one of those shows, like, I forget if I don't think it's on Netflix anymore, but that's a show that would just be on all the time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Tina Fey and jazz. No, nothing wrong with that. Favorite Keanu Reeves movie?
Favorite Keanu Reeves movie is going to be Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay.
I mean, because I love to see him and Winona try to have British accents. And then I just love the disparity of talent. To watch.
I've never seen it. That was early, right? After Bill and Ted?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this might have been, because he had serious roles before Bill and Ted, I believe. Like, he was a serious actor.
Uh-huh.
And then he got famous doing Bill and Ted. And then slowly people realized, like, he talks like that.
Yeah.
He does talk like that. But also,
Dracula
I love to
with
see
that
like
voice.
the clear disparity in talent. Gary Oldman.
Great actor, yeah.
Gary fucking Oldman, like just doing all the heavy lifting, and then like Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves trying to have British accents, and it's like they're trying, they're doing their best. They should do his best.
Yeah, that's tough though.
But
Oldman's good.
Also Keanu Reeves. It's also like I got nothing bad to say about that. I've had so much fun with his movies over the years. I didn't watch the last John Wick. The third one was a little bit like there's no need for a horse to be there. There's no need for it.
That's true.
The first one,
they got.
I'm gonna say the first one I liked a lot. The first two were good, and there's those little weird things that are actually like I appreciate the actual like all the gun training and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I appreciate all that shit, and all like the Matrix shit. Like the guy's a worker, and I appreciate a near 60-year-old man like still like
jumping on motorcycles and doing all that shit. Yeah, man, 4 is good. I would recommend it. Like
I'll check it out.
It's as good or better than 3.
The third one jumped the shark pretty bad, and I hate to make fun of it because, like I said, I liked the first two.
4 is better. I'd like 4 better than 2 and 3.
Okay.
I'd probably go 1, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's
the first one was just such a like what's this movie about? I mean,
kill his dog and steal his Mustang. You're getting shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good. It's worth a watch. We're gonna take a quick break. Got a couple more segments, more to talk about. Be right back with more Scott James, everybody. I came into the green room tonight and noticed that my Frank Costanza Festivus bobblehead had been broken. I don't know who you are, but I will find you. And when I find you, I'll make you apologize. I won't make you pay for the Frank Costanza bobblehead or try to find the Frank Costanza bobblehead on eBay, but I will make you apologize. Frank Costanza wanted a Festivus for the rest of us, and you've ruined that. You know what? I'll probably just super glue it together and put it back on the shelf. I did want to let you know that I don't appreciate it. So, fuck you a little bit, but not enough to pay for it. But I would like an apology. And thanks for watching Back of the Room. All right, we're back. Sitting here with Scott James in the back of the room. I know you used to be a drummer. Big music guy, big jazz guy.
Not a big jazz guy.
Well, from what you were talking about earlier, I think you're a big jazz guy.
If I was a big jazz guy, I'd be able to tell you more than 4 artists.
Okay, well, you're a casual
I'm a
jazz
casual
guy.
jazz guy.
I don't like jazz, so you like it.
Yes.
Okay. Like jazz. Have you noticed this? There's a lot of names of bands. Names of bands always kind of fascinate me. And lately, I've been hearing some names that are just terrible.
Yes.
Somebody will have a hit, and you look at the name on the little screen on your car or whatever, and you're like, what the fuck?
I blame Hoobastank.
Hoobastank's pretty bad, but
It's an awful band
I've
name. That's
noted
one of
down
those
a
shitty
few.
things. You know there was a band. I was also in a band with... I liked the band name. I liked
Hit
the
me
band
with the
name.
name.
Huh?
What was the name?
The name was Adams Off Ox.
That's not great. What does that even mean?
Go fuck yourself, Jimmy.
All right.
I thought it was a good... Look,
It should've
there's a
been
whole
like-
meaning. It should have been something... Yes. All right.
Ox Blood.
It's not great.
I don't know.
We weren't that kind of band. That blood should be in the name.
Adam's Ox.
It could have. It also could have just been Off Ox, and I think that's not a bad. But whatever. You know what? Other members of the band didn't like it, and every time somebody would bitch about it, I'd be like, that's the name of the band. So I was either convincing enough that nobody wanted to change.
I'm not
Put forth something better. Put forth something better,
Yeah.
or shut up.
I'm not going to throw any stones.
Also, I wasn't like the lead guy. I was the drummer. Okay. So they went along with the drummer's suggestion, and just so they could bitch about it later.
I'm not an expert, but I'm thinking maybe you didn't make it because of the name. But I got some other names here I'm going to throw out.
Yeah.
Shitty band names I've seen. Ben Stellar. They've got some song out now. So it's like Ben Stiller, but it's
No, I
Ben
got it.
Stellar.
It's just like
That's bad.
Buck Cherry. Yeah.
That's not great.
Yeah. It kind of is, but it's kind of not.
It's better than Ben Stellar, but it's not great. I also have Ducks Limited. So they took the Ducks Unlimited.
Oh, I got it. I got it right away. It's very clever.
A duck gear hunting brand, and
Very,
they
very
take
clever.
the "un" off of it.
I think of, I try to look at like, I don't know what any of these bands sound like.
They're kind of rock, indie rock kind of things. I think these two
Okay.
guys are.
There are bands that have names where I'm like, that's a badass name. And then I hear the band and I'm like, they should give it to somebody.
Yeah, that's good.
I am going to put this out there because it'll be a matter of public record and nobody can steal my band names in case. Just in case
case.
I start a new band and I get to use one of these. And I'm coming in strong. Okay, so these are... So I don't know how much, if we're backing up or you're editing
Yeah, we're
any of that
back.
out.
We're
we
back.
were talking about...
we're doing band name trivia. Getting back
I didn't get a
into it.
single one right, but it was like band names...
Yeah, the
that
names you
like
don't
famous
know.
bands
Yeah.
changed it to, and they were all god awful, and then we trailed off because that's how I do. And then we had a good time making fun of one of my old band names.
Yeah, wasn't great.
By the way, it wasn't great.
Yeah,
I'm ready to admit that now.
yeah. I had some bad.
It hasn't been a band for like 20 years.
I had bad band names too. You want to hear these?
Yes.
It was in a middle school with two buddies. I played guitar, my buddy played guitar, and we had a drummer. No singer, no bass.
Right.
So we weren't really a band. But the first one was Spilled Soda in Jimmy's Basement.
That's a high school band name. There are bands that have that name and they make it big, and you're like,
Yeah.
dude, change it before.
You should change it. And then we went to Sideways with a Z. And then we were wrecked at the end, and then we disbanded because we were terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I think there is a band named Wrecked.
Probably. They stole
That's
it
like
from
they're
us.
signed. They got a deal.
Yours was the Ox of Scotty's.
Adams Off Ox.
Adams of Ox, that's right.
Was the name of the band. But I don't think I was in any bands that had a good name. The only band I was in, and by the way, they were all good bands, fun bands to play in with people I still, for the most part, love.
Yeah.
So, but definitely, I'll take the hit on Adams Off Ox because that was my idea. All right, but nobody stopped me. They
got to nominate
it's
a better
because we
one.
were too young to have healthy boundaries.
Okay.
That's how I got married, also. But everybody was like, "Yeah, that's the name of the band." Nobody stopped me.
If they can't think of a better one,
My
you got to
will
go
was
with it.
not that strong.
Yeah.
I wasn't so married to it that I was like, "This has to be."
Mm-hmm.
It's not my last name. And again, I was the drummer.
Yeah.
But I'm going to redeem myself.
Let's hear some good ones.
Because I have a list of band names, and I'm coming out strong.
Okay.
These are good band names. Hands Off Prophets.
Okay.
Fuck.
It's not bad.
War Brides.
I don't hate that one.
This is my favorite one. Highborn Lord.
Highborn Lord. Okay.
Yeah. Lesser Known Saints.
Okay.
The Somerton Band. Have you heard of the Somerton Man?
No.
Look it up, Jimmy.
Okay. I don't know any of the guys you like.
All right, some of these aren't great. Whistle Bit. That's not great. I came out strong. Also, I think the next 5 or 6 things on here is just shows I'm supposed to check out. Because
like
this one just
Bridgerton.
it says check out Sharp. They all say check out, and I know I didn't get
Shark
check
Tank.
out Dave's Donuts. That might actually be a donut shop I was supposed to check out. It could be a show.
Could be a band name.
Yeah.
Dave's Donuts. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I like some of those. You got a pretty good batting average on those.
Yeah, Highborn Lord's pretty great.
That's not bad. Some of the ones we threw out before were the Polka Tulk Blues Band turned into Black Sabbath. The Gollywogs were Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, and then we made fun of the Beatles for a while because that was probably like Beatles mania. Like you got to have like a
cute name.
Yeah, a cutesy name.
You can't talk about holding hands.
Yeah,
and it's BEAT and Beatles and all of that. But yeah,
I didn't know. I thought Creedence Clearwater was like the singer.
Yeah,
that's got to be everybody. Leonard Skinner. There's nobody in that band. His name is Leonard Skinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a good name, but yeah, nobody knows that. A couple other ones I'm going to throw out before we move on. You might know them. If you do know them, just say it. The Young Aborigines. Rap genre.
Rap? The Young Aborigines?
Late 3 People, early 90s.
Tribe Called Quest?
No.
De La Soul.
White guys.
Fuck. White guys named the Young Aborigines?
The late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, geez. Was it Third Base? White guys? Who else?
Check it out.
Who the fuck is...
The Beastie Boys, bro.
Oh. I never gave a fuck about the Beastie Boys. I always gave a fuck about their DJs. I just could not get into the Beastie
All right.
Boys.
Well, I gave you a lot of hints on that one. That's fine.
Nah,
Couple other ones. You might know this one. Mookie Blaylock.
Oh, Mookie Blaylock.
You mentioned him. Who did they turn into?
What is that? Was that
Grunge? Seattle?
Oh, Pearl Jam?
Pearl Jam.
Okay. There's one for your boy.
Yeah. And then let's see, one more here. Sweet Children. Punk. Late 90s.
Oh, late 90s?
Mid 90s.
Oh, was it Green Day?
It was Green Day.
Okay, that's 2 for your boy.
You're doing
one of
pretty
them
good.
I took heavy hints on though. So
I'll give you one more just so you got the best batting average here of winning the game or whatever this segment is. Soft White Underbelly. It's 70s, 3 words, and a color is involved, and a food, and a group of people that usually go crazy and kill themselves. Color, food, group of people that kill themselves.
It's too many. Now, if I don't get it, that's too many hints. I'm really gonna feel dumb now.
That one was Blue Oyster Cult.
Fine. Fine.
All right, that was band name trivia. It's a segment we're probably not going to do ever again, but big music guy here, so I wanted to give you some.
To tell people.
We're switching gears. What you're into now is comedy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about comedy. We're sitting here in the back of the Funny Bone, obviously. Is this where you started comedy? Did you do it here for the first time?
It is. This is where, this is where I started at the Westport Funny Bone, an embarrassing amount of time ago.
Okay, you don't have to throw it out there if you don't want to, but it's all right.
So, Sean O'Brien, who's been on this show,
Uh-huh.
told me, somebody asked me how long I've been. I was like, I don't know. It's like year, I don't know. And he's like, Scotty, it's 5 until it's 10.
Uh-huh.
And I think I've passed. So I think I've definitely passed the 10-year mark. So I don't know what to say now. I think it's been 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did the first time? How was it? Did it go well?
No.
Did it not go well? Okay.
No, it went really bad. I was one of those. So I don't know what compelled me to keep going, but my first time, I definitely got sandwiched between a guy named Dan O'Sullivan, who's a local headliner.
I know.
Who, especially at the time, was just a fucking murderer.
Yeah.
And Greg Warren.
That's tough.
Who is, So I went in between those two guys.
First time.
And it could not have been more obvious that I was new to this.
Yeah.
It was really, really bad. I've got my first set on my phone somewhere.
Audio?
I think it's the first audio file
Wow.
I have on my phone. And
we're gonna play that right now.
Absolutely not. You
That'd be
probably
great.
couldn't. I won't go back and listen to it. And if this was one of those things like it'd be a weird gotcha moment, like if there was any investigation to do and somebody found that set and played it. I think on YouTube there's a set of me at Fitz's that is also like embarrassingly bad.
Yeah, that's
What are you gonna do, man? I see it happen a lot. That's why I'm not my patience is not unlimited.
It's tough. I mean, usually people don't do well
with
the first
new comics
time,
because I'm not so far removed from that emotionally
yeah.
that I don't remember what it's like being a new comic and then having that like you've got no weapons, you got no tools, you're just out there like, and then you think like I'm gonna be the first one to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be the first one to be this dirty, and this crowd's gonna love it. They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is, and it's like fucking cringy or whatever. But it's also like new comics, man.
Yeah.
You suck until you don't. You
You
just
would
like
be-
if new comics are watching this or just whatever, like obviously like be patient with yourself because learning anything is tough, and you gotta. But it is like one of the. In terms of like performance art or whatever artistic endeavor or whatever creative endeavor you're into, it is the quickest turnaround.
It's instant feedback, yeah.
It's instant feedback.
Yeah, but I know what you mean because, I mean, you can bomb at any time. We could bomb tonight at the open mic, but...
And the feedback is very quick.
Yeah.
And some crowds are not like great. Sometimes they're just not buying what you're selling.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah,
but I think you'd
like
be
we were talking about being in bands, like like the first 10 songs. My first band that I was in that I played out a lot with, the first 10, I'd listen back to those songs. I would be very embarrassed by those songs, but the last 10, I'd be like, "That's the shit.
Yeah,
that's what we were supposed to sound like that whole time."
Yeah, well, you'd be a psycho if you went back and watched a set from when you were 6 months in and be like, "That was hilarious."
Every now and then, I would. Like every now and then I have something that I find in a notebook or I'll listen back and I'll be like, I know what I was thinking.
You can
I know
bring
what I
it.
was trying to do. I always say like you should never like kill your darlings all the way.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't make like black and white statements like that. You should. Sometimes you should. But sometimes there's something that I was like, man, I know I was taking a big swing or I was trying to take a big bite or like I was really walking the tightrope on this one. And I always have this idea that like a better comic could take that same idea and probably kill with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not there yet. And I've always got those ideas. I've got like a round of new material right now. That
Yeah.
I'm like, a better comic could probably come up with more shit for this or come up with a better angle or whatever. And honestly, like I have really fresh material right now that I'm sure that's got to be like, it's just fresh in what's going on in my life right now that I hate that I'm like gonna write and perform about it. But it is what it is.
You
man.
got to polish it and work on it and everything. And
But
two,
by
if you go back and revisit something, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I can do this now because I figured out how to say it or whatever. But
yeah, here's
it's always a process.
Here's what happens for me, and it happens a lot. I write about something that's going on, and I'm pretty proud of it. And it's like writing topical stuff, like writing stuff about the news. Like, how long will it take you to polish this chunk of material into something that you're really proud of and is really working and really firing on all cylinders, and you're looking forward to it coming up in your sets? And then there's like that sharp decline, and you go like, oh, it's passé now.
Yeah.
It's old shit.
Everybody forgot about it.
If you're writing like sort of autobiographically, you write about like what's going on in your life, like that happens too. Like there's been a bunch of things about in my life that I've been writing about. And I was like, this material, and it's like, you know, it's pretentious to say like this material means something to me too. Like I know I'm making fun of it, and
well, it's
I'm
really
joking
what's
about it.
happening too.
But
when you're alive,
it's very
so,
relevant.
Yeah.
And sometimes when that happens, the material's like, oh, I'm on a hot streak. I'm really writing about this.
Yeah.
And then at some point you're like, I don't care that much about
Moved
this.
on or whatever. Yeah, I know what you mean. But
You
like,
move on, and you can't like work up the give a fuck.
yeah.
You can't work up the passion about it anymore. It was like that when I was writing about my divorce and stuff like that. I was like, I was like, oh, it was like, I was like on a hot. That's all I was writing about because it was what was on my mind.
Yeah.
And I've got that same thing going on right now. I'm writing about what's on my mind, and it's not a wonderful thing. It's, you know, it sucks. It is, but it is what it is, and this is what I'm writing about. But it's also like, it's also like, it's the way it's got to be.
Yeah. I mean, that seems
I
like
don't
it's
write
your
songs.
process. You kind of write about what you're feeling, what you're going through, and then maybe tweak it a little on stage and kind of
Yeah. You tweak it enough, and I think the thing I'm doing now, the way it's growing, is like you make it vague enough to where it's not about a specific person whose feelings could be hurt. So that's like, it's not what I'm going for. It is a broad topic. It's broad enough where I could talk about it, and it doesn't have to be specific. But it is what I'm writing about right now.
Talking about broads.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
No, that's everybody's got their own process, and I think what you do works for you for sure because you can talk about what's going on. And
but how long is it going to work before it's like I don't care about this as much as I did when I started writing about it, and now it feels phony, or it feels like
I know what you mean, but you can always keep it on the back burner and revisit it when you need it. That's what's
fortunately, I think fortunately and unfortunately at the same time, I think I'm gonna get broke up with a lot. So I think I think this material is gonna be evergreen. I think like 5 years from now I'm gonna be like, going through a breakup right now.
There's a lot of fish in the sea. They say that doesn't help you right now because you're not looking for fish. But
when you're in your 40s and they're age appropriate fish, it's like a lot more rough than diamonds. You know what I mean? I mean, it just is what it is.
Good luck
man.
out
You
there,
find
buddy.
something
You'll
special.
be all right. Yeah, you'll figure it out. If you don't, you'll have more material. So
Yeah.
A favorite comedian or top 5 or top 3?
Okay. Now,
whatever.
this is a fun-
Nobody says one.
So before I started doing comedy, it would have been like Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, George Carlin, Richard Pryor, probably Andrew Dice Clay too. Say what you will, I had a great time with that dude.
I saw him here.
Had a great time. Did
you
really?
Yeah, when he was here like
he's
2
one of
or
those
3
guys,
years ago.
like, I wouldn't want to see him now.
He was fine. Like I
Was
thought he
he?
was funny. Like he was packed. Like it was sold out.
I'm sure
People
it
were
was.
paying like
I'm
$50,
sure that it
$60
was.
a ticket. I thought it was funny, but
I
it's
just-
not his heyday anymore. But he's still doing well.
No, but I'm sort of curious, but I'm not like.
Hickory dickory.
I just remember like discovering
Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay and be like, he might be the funniest man ever.
Yeah.
When I was 9. But one of my favorite comics is coming to the Funny Bone this week, and this will be out past when he's here.
Probably,
But
yeah.
Ryan Stout is one of my favorites. Kevin Bozeman.
Both very funny, yeah.
Chad Daniels.
Why'd you say it like that? Like, he's hilarious.
I didn't say it like anyway. Chad Dan,
He used to be the one you would say that people didn't know about, but now he's getting so big that everybody's starting to catch on finally.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
He's in his 70s or something. No, he's in his 50s. And also like those three comics I saw for the first time here, and I have really good memories
me
of
too.
being like a new comic and them like giving me some time. And not every you don't want to bother every headliner when you're a new comic with like, hey, can you talk to me about comedy?
Uh-huh.
I mean, they're doing their job. They're
Yeah.
doing their day job. But those three people also, and there's more obviously than that. But they're also like comics that I still like look up to. And yeah, they're just fucking great. They're funny in the ways I want to be. I think everybody's new favorite comic now is Shane Gillis, and I totally get it. I totally get why. And it's, he's funny in the way a lot of us want to be funny.
Yeah, I think he's funny. He's not like my favorite comedian, but I think he's funny.
Yeah,
Like,
it's sort of like naturally edgy in a way that's like, it doesn't seem like a put on, and I think people accept it as being like an honest doofus's opinion. And he also has those like, it's like smart stupid.
yeah, he's a smart guy. Like, I've listened to him on a
Yeah, he's not a
podcast,
dumb-
and he knows a lot about the presidents and like history and
Yeah.
all kinds of shit. I'm like, he's pretty
Yeah,
fucking
but
smart.
his material and the way he puts it together comes across as like,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it's really, really clever, but it's also like clever in how doofusy it is. And I
Yeah.
think that's what, in a weird way, I think that's what a lot of comics are going for. But and also like edgy and like having like sort of going against the grain. It's it's easy to do. It's easy to be, go against the grain and say the unpopular thing, right? But
you got to make it
God
funny
damn
too.
it if it isn't hard to make funny.
Yeah,
And
you got to make it
that's-
funny too.
You see
That's
people
the hard
that
part.
that do it well, and it just, like pisses you off that much more to see people like just have opinions on stage.
Yeah.
It's not funny. Come on, man. But then also like I always look at sort of who's coming up at the Funny Bone, and I see like it's always nice to see like headliners I'd never heard of or whatever. But so Ryan Stout's going to be here this week, and someone named Amy Silverberg is going to be at the St. Charles Funny Bone.
And I heard some dude
And-
named Scott James is going to be headlining here
at
soon
at the end
too.
of July. Yeah, this isn't going to come out this, and I don't know who's.
It might. I'll try to
I don't know
push
what
it.
your target market is.
Scott James fans mostly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, I'm gonna be headlining here.
Yeah, congrats though. That's awesome. I know you
yeah.
did a.
It's my second. So I did Thanksgiving week, and it went. It went all right. It went well. Numbers wise, I'm not gonna move tickets. I'm not a draw. I know that.
Hey, local guy, so I
But
mean, it's,
we got
I know what you
lucky
mean.
on a couple of shows, and oh yeah. So the first time I was supposed to headline here was last 4th of July weekend, and it just happened to like the 5th was on a Saturday, and he was going to give me 2 shows on that Saturday, and like enough tickets moved, and I was like, oh good, I'm not embarrassing myself, and I had people show up. I was all proud. I was proud because like somebody was going to get their first hosting week out of that, and JC Sabala was going to feature, and it felt good, and it felt rad. I was very proud. I was confident that I had the material, and I was confident that it was going to go well. And then a big storm came through and knocked out the power to the building, and both of those shows got canceled.
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
that was my first headlining.
I felt bad for you, man. I remember coming up here and it was canceled. I was
so-
like, God.
I felt so terrible, man. And
Act of God took your shows away.
I felt terrible because a lot of like friends and family came out. My girlfriend at the time, single tear rolling down my cheek, came out and had some friends come out with her, and it's just disappointing. It sucked, and I know like as bad as it is, like to be like we went over and hung out, like my friends that came out, a bunch of us went over and hung out at somebody's house afterwards, and I had to be like,
Yay.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, at least we all get to be together and hang out. And I was so disappointed. I just hated to be a sourpuss about it. And God bless her, the woman I was with, we just broke up. The woman I was with, goddamn, if she wasn't just like supportive and nice and knew that I was not in a good mood about it. But I was also like trying. It's nobody's fault. Like nobody could be blamed for it.
No, it sucked for sure. But I remember I was just like, sorry, man.
Damn it, man. If
yeah,
it's a bummer. But then whatever, redemption story. I got Thanksgiving week that week, and it went well. And my son came out and saw me, and he had a good time, and actually had nice things to say about my material. But he's 20 years old. It's just something his dad does. It's not cool anymore. But
that's always good.
He also came to see me at a theater gig. I opened for Greg Warren. I opened for him in Columbia, Missouri, where he goes to college, and I think that was a pretty cool thing for him to see me in like kind of a bigger venue or whatever. And that set went really well. But I'm headlining here.
What date?
July 25th through the 28th. That's a Thursday through a Sunday. Plenty. When I say that there are plenty of tickets available, I mean, just show up. Just show up.
If this does come out before that date, you should go. But if it comes out after, you should have went.
You should have went.
Yeah.
Because it turns out there weren't plenty of tickets available. People came out in droves, and Saturday, first show, they carried me out of this place on their shoulders. It just went so well. So well.
Manifesting, and it's going to work out.
I'm seeing
it's going to be great.
In my head. This is where things are going to turn around for me.
Last thing about comedy here, or not the last thing, doesn't have to be, but you mentioned, seeing some guys up here earlier on, and did anybody give you some advice that you kind of held on to, like early on, or like when you saw Chad Daniels or Ryan Stout or one of these guys?
A lot of it, Ryan Stout gave me a lot of like weird little tidbits, and a lot of it was just his attitude about writing, and maybe not even like techniques or whatever, but when you actually start like nerding out about how he's putting things together or whatever, it's just sort of like you learn by watching, and also just his attitude with how he like dealt with people who like clearly I think kind of looked up to him, like young comics. Chad Daniels had a good same kind of deal. Watching Chad Daniels here, I mean, the guy's got balls of solid rock. He would do shit on stage that I still like. I don't have the balls to do these things. I've tried a couple weird things like this.
Yeah.
But he did this thing one time where I don't know if he was being heckled a lot or he was just like going after the crowd or whatever he was doing. But he just started grabbing shit from the crowd, like chairs, tables, whatever, and he was putting it on stage, like a barrier between him and the audience. And it was just so goofy and so silly. And he was like, I think he had just like, a table, a chair, a couple chairs maybe. And then the last thing he did, and by the way, he was also murdering. Yeah. He was killing. And he did this thing, and he's just like, all right. He just kind of calmed down and he let it go quiet. And he's like, all right, I better start wrapping things up here. Thanks for having me. And he just slowly put everything back where he found it. And he moved the stool back. He took a napkin, wiped off the stool. He put the mic stand center of the stage. He like kind of lined it up. He took the mic. He wrapped the cord around, put the mic in the stand. One last adjustment, and then he just walked off stage. And
that's amazing.
It had to take 8 minutes for him to do all that shit, and it was like completely silent. And then it was like just huge applause break for him coming off stage.
That's awesome.
And he also. One show, he just walked off stage in the middle of a show. And then he came back with a shot and was like, I'm going to have to be drunk to deal with you people tonight. And did that shot. And it was like a huge, he was probably like, it probably was a rowdy crowd. He was probably pissed off.
Yeah.
But it's just such a ballsy move to like, he just walked off stage in the middle. Just left, And there were people that were like, did he just fucking quit?
Yeah.
Did he just... And, you know...
He's one of my favorites, man. I saw him up here, and it wasn't a big crowd. I think it was a late show. And this lady was talking in the back, and she was just, I don't remember what she said, but she was just said something like, what is he talking about? And he goes, what is he talking about? And she goes, what? He's like, I'm just letting you know that you're talking too loud, and this is a comedy show. And then he just went on with his shit, and I was like, holy shit, that was such a great way to handle that. Because it shut her up, and, you know, that was the end of it.
One of my favorite weird heckler things is Greg will do this. I've seen him do it before, where he'll just shut up. He'll get real quiet, and somebody will be talking, and he'll wait for it to get completely quiet, and that person to stop talking, and he'll just go, thanks. It's just such a, like...
That's great.
I don't think he's a guy that wants to go after people.
Yeah, he will if he has to, but
I've
he
seen
doesn't.
him do it.
Yeah.
He will.
Yeah,
but
he
it's one
doesn't
of those
want
things
to, really.
like he's like a dog that like he don't want to bite people.
Yeah,
but he's also just like But I think he's been doing it long enough and he's clever enough. Greg's one of those guys. Like he's so much to learn from that guy. I worked with him one time out of town. We worked at Appleton, Wisconsin, Skyline Comedy Club, and his other two openers were just not available. He was nice enough to ask me, and I was nice enough to call in sick to work for a couple days. But he was also like, it was like taking a really condensed comedy class.
Yeah.
I left town with 30 minutes. I came back with 20. And my act was better. He's just one of those guys. He does comedy like it's his job.
Yeah, but he takes it serious. Yeah, he's great. You always learn something from Greg. But yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you being here. Where can people follow you on social media, all that kind of stuff?
On Facebook and on Instagram.
At?
I think my Instagram is it's
Oxblood still
no,
or whatever.
God damn it. It's Scotty James 81.
Okay.
I think on Facebook and on Instagram, and I don't do Twitter.
All right, man. Well,
I'm on there. I just don't do it.
Follow Scotty James, everybody. Thanks for being here again, man. We're going to go to the open mic now. You got to do your meeting. I got to hopefully make the list, and we'll go from there, man. But thanks for being here again. Hey. Scott James, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Back of the Room podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.